After 2.5 years of training, Naruto returned to Konoha. Meanwhile, the Akatsuki began executing the plan they had devised in previous years, capturing the Jinchuriki to extract the Bijou. Various Leaf Village teams, including Team 7, faced off against the organization. The group managed to capture 7-tailed beasts, killing most of their hosts, with the exception of Gaara, who was saved by Granny Chiyo. During this time, we saw Sakura defeat Sasori, as well as a brief confrontation between Naruto, Kakashi, and Deidara. The Team 7 sensei had to take leave after using Kamui, a Mangekyu Sharingan jutsu, and left Yamato in charge of the team. Yamato was capable of controlling any manifestations of the Nine Tails within Naruto. Additionally, a new member was added to the team, Sai, one of the orphans Danzo integrated into the IMBU, who was also there to follow his orders. On a mission, Naruto, Sai, Sakura, and Yamato were attacked by Orochimaru and Kabuto, and the Nine Tails chakra began to manifest. As mentioned earlier, the new Team 7 sensei managed to control the Four Tails form of the beast. After everything settled, he advised our beloved protagonist not to use the fox's power anymore, as it had seriously injured his teammate. During this time, Sai also questioned Naruto about his obsession with bringing Sasuke back, to which Naruto responded that it was because of the bonds of friendship. Eventually, after much searching, everyone crossed paths with Sasuke, who immediately showed himself to be a completely different person from who he once was. Sasuke even tried to strike Naruto, but Orochimaru intervened, stating that there were more interesting enemies to kill, referring to the Akatsuki members. Orochimaru and Kabuto then disappeared with Sasuke. This event deeply impacted Team 7, especially Sakura and our beloved protagonist. As a result, Naruto decided to intensify his training even more, this time with the help of Kakashi, who chose to pay closer attention to his student. Yamato was also present to contain the Nine Tails if it decided to manifest. The outcome of all this training was the Rasen Shuriken, a much more powerful Rasengan that, unlike the previous version, could be thrown over long distances. We saw the first appearance of this jutsu during a mission against the Akatsuki. In a battle against Hidan, Asuma Sarutobi ended up losing his life. Shikamaru, one of his students, was there and witnessed the entire scene. A few days later, consumed by a desire for revenge, he called upon Ino and Choji for a mission, with the goal of defeating the one who killed their sensei. Tsunade was reluctant to authorize the mission without an older and more experienced person in charge, but Kakashi volunteered for the task. Thus the four of them set out. At first it was difficult, but once they managed to separate Hidan and Kakuzu, things improved. Shikamaru was left alone with Hidan while the others faced Kakuzu. Soon after, Naruto arrived along with Sakura and Sai, using the new jutsu he had created to defeat the villain. Kakashi then finished off Kakuzu with Chidori. At the same time, Shikamaru completed his revenge against Hidan by dismembering him and burying him under rock. The area where he left Jashin's servant belonged to the Nara clan and was surrounded by deer, making it nearly impossible for anyone to rescue the villain. After all these events, Team 7 and Team 10 returned to Konoha and immediately treated their wounds. Tsunade told Naruto that he could no longer use the Rasen Shuriken because the technique was too dangerous and took too much of a toll on his body. Of course, the news was very sad, but as we know, it didn't stop our beloved protagonist. Additionally, we see that the 5th Hokage, along with Kakashi and Yamato, was using Kakuzu's body for studies and information that might be helpful later on. Meanwhile, Sasuke, who had spent 2 years training with Orochimaru, realized the Sanin's true intentions and betrayed him, killing him. Many people were shocked by the Uchiha's actions when they found out what had happened. After leaving the hideout where he had been, Sasuke also ended up freeing those who worked for the Snake Master and some of his creation. Among these people were Jugo, Karin Uzumaki, and Suigetsu. Together they formed Team Hebi, which was later renamed to Team Taka. While on his way to confront his brother and exact his revenge, Sasuke encountered Tobi and Deidara, who harbored a deep hatred for Itachi. As a result, the two clashed, and the explosive ninja unleashed a destructive technique, C4, which would have taken his own life along with Sasuke's. However, Deidara's attempt failed, as Sasuke used the summoning jutsu to save himself. Before going to meet his brother, Itachi crossed paths with Naruto and asked what his intentions were regarding Sasuke. Our beloved protagonist replied that his intentions were driven by good feelings and the bond of friendship they had formed. This answer gave Itachi a lot of hope and made him very happy, as he realized that Naruto's words were sincere and that his younger brother would not be alone in the future. To ensure that nothing went wrong, the older Uchiha left Shisui's crow with Naruto and departed. After this encounter, Sasuke found Itachi, and the long-awaited battle between the brothers finally took place. There were many genjutsus and Mangekyo Sharingan techniques used, and until the very end, many believed that Itachi would be victorious, especially since he cornered Sasuke against the wall and threatened to take his younger brother's eyes. However, he simply gave the famous forehead poke and apologized, saying there won't be a next time. Then the older brother fell to the ground, dead. The revenge had finally been completed. Afterward, Sasuke woke up in a hideout with Tobi, who revealed the whole truth to him. Tobi explained that Itachi had committed that heinous act against their own clan to prevent a coup d'etat and consequently a new war. At first, Sasuke refused to believe the truth, but eventually he came to terms with it and began to cry. Once again, he was consumed by a desire for revenge, but this time against Konoha, due to everything that had happened to Itachi. Thus, he finally awakened the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. With this, Tobi became very interested in having Sasuke join the Akatsuki, which had already lost many members. He then sent Sasuke and the rest of Team Taka to capture the Eight Tails. What no one expected was that Killer Bee would be such a formidable opponent, and if it weren't for his allies, Sasuke would have been in serious trouble, possibly even dead. In the end, they brought the body of the rapper back to the organization's hideout, but when they tried to extract the Bijou, they discovered that it was just a clone of the Jinchuriki. Shortly afterward, Jiraiya gathered information about the leader of the organization and set out on an investigation. Upon infiltrating Amegakure, he encountered his former student Konan, and the two briefly fought. Then, Pain appeared and interrupted the fight, declaring that from that moment on, the Sannin would be his opponent. The two engaged in a long battle, and at a certain point, the pervy sage realized through the Rinnegan that he was actually facing Nagato. Unfortunately, Jiraiya realized his former student's tactics too late and was killed in combat. Upon learning of his master's death and the likely attack aimed at capturing the Nine Tails, Naruto began training in Sage Mode. Meanwhile, Pain invaded Konoha and destroyed the entire village, killing many people, including Shizune and Kakashi. However, our beloved protagonist returned to the village already in Sage Mode to fight the villain. The battle started evenly, but at one point, Pain managed to pin Naruto down with several iron rods. In response, Hinata Hyuga decided to face the villain and at the same time confessed her love for Naruto. Despite showcasing various techniques, it wasn't enough to stop him, and the Byakugan princess was gravely injured. Witnessing the scene, our beloved protagonist became extremely furious and unleashed the Nine Tails chakra to the point where nearly the entire body of the fox began to emerge. In an attempt to seal Naruto, Pain used Chibaku Tensei, but even that wasn't enough to contain the full fury of the fox. At that moment, within Naruto's consciousness, the chakra of none other than Minato appeared. The two met and had a long conversation about the current events in the ninja world. It was during this moment that our beloved protagonist discovered that his father was the fourth Hokage. After some time, Minato managed to restore the fox's chakra, preventing his son from being fully controlled by it, and also restored the seal. Following this, Naruto defeated Pain. He then went to where Nagato and Konan were hiding. For a moment, the Paper Angel tried to stop Naruto from approaching, but Nagato assured her it was fine. Naruto's Talk no Jutsu deeply moved the former leader of the Akatsuki, and before passing away, Nagato used Chibaku Tensei to resurrect all those who had died during the invasion. Afterward, Konan retrieved the bodies of her friend and Yahiko, who was one of Pain's paths, and gave flowers to Naruto, thanking him for everything. Upon returning to the village, our beloved protagonist was warmly welcomed and became known as the hero of Konoha. Additionally, the Leaf Village needed to be rebuilt as it was almost entirely destroyed. Tsunade, however, had exhausted a large portion of her chakra to save many of Konoha's citizens as well as tending to the wounded, preventing further death. This massive chakra loss put her into a coma, and with the fifth Hokage unable to lead the reconstruction and take command, Danzo took advantage of the situation and appointed himself the new Hokage. Furthermore, the Kages of the five great nations decided to meet to discuss the threat Sasuke posed to the ninja world. Naruto asked the Raikage to give his friend a chance and even apologized on his behalf, but unfortunately, the blonde's attempts to save his former teammate were in vain. Afterward, Naruto went to an inn where he was confronted by Tobi, who questioned him about Nagato's change of heart. Naruto ignored the questions, but instead asked what the masked man's plans were regarding Sasuke. Without wasting time, Tobi explained about the Sage of the Six Paths, the Uchiha clan, and the truth behind the massacre which had already set Sasuke on a path of vengeance. Naruto insisted that he could still reach Sasuke, but Tobi laughed and left, saying that the two were destined to fight again. Determined, Naruto decided to continue practicing Sage Mode, hoping to enhance his sensory abilities and thus find his friend. However, the training was interrupted by Sakura's arrival in the Land of Iron as she wanted to talk. After hugging Naruto, she said that she no longer cared about Uchiha. This was a decision that the Konoha 11 had made regarding the situation, and they had asked her to resolve it. Naruto didn't believe Sakura's words and said that he hated people who lied to themselves. At the same time, during the meeting of the 5 Kages, Danzo tried to manipulate them using Shisui's Sharingan, but when he was discovered, all of them lost trust in him. To make matters worse, Sasuke appeared with the intention of attacking the most powerful ninjas present. After attacking the 5 Kages, Sasuke was only spared because Gaara blocked the Raikage's attack, giving the Uchiha a chance to redeem himself, but that's not what happened. Suddenly, Sasuke summoned Susanoo, still aiming to kill everyone there. Once again, he was nearly executed, if not for Tobi, who appeared to rescue him. Still claiming to be Madara, Tobi demanded that the Kages hand over all the Biju, or else the 4th Great Ninja War would be declared from that moment on. And we all know what the result was, don't we? After leaving, Obito decided to help Sasuke in his revenge against Konoha, taking him there. With his ocular power fully unleashed, the Uchiha ended up in a battle against Danzo. At first, the newly appointed Hokage resisted Sasuke's fatal blows due to Izanagi, using the various Sharingans he had previously collected. However, each time he used it, the eye would close after being used, so to speak. Despite this, Danzo remained at a disadvantage, while Sasuke, filled with rage, overused his eyes, causing them to bleed. At a certain point, Danzo began to lose control of Hashirama's cells within his body. He decided to capture Karin and take her hostage, believing that Sasuke wouldn't harm him while he had the girl. But with the Uchiha at the peak of his insanity, he launched a Chidori at both of them. Danzo ended up dead, and Karin was gravely injured. At that moment, Sakura appeared and said that she would follow her former childhood love in everything, even if he was seen as a villain by everyone. As a proof of loyalty, Sasuke asked Sakura to kill Karin. She hesitated and ultimately decided not to do it. At that moment, Sasuke filled his hand with a Chidori and launched it at her, but Kakashi arrived just in time to prevent a fatal incident. Naruto also joined the battle shortly afterward. Soon after, Tobi fled with Sasuke and took him to have his eyes replaced, as they were almost completely blind. The plan was to take Itachi's eyes from his tomb since they were powerful and didn't wear out easily. Meanwhile, Killer Bee engaged in a battle with Kisame, who ended up losing his head during the fight. The rapper even adopted Samhara as his own sword. Additionally, Tsunade woke up from her coma, resuming her position as Hokage, and Naruto received the final seal for the Nine Tails from the 4th Hokage. This way, if he wanted, he could unleash the fox's chakra. To learn how to control it, Killer Bee volunteered to teach our beloved protagonist how to become a partner with the beast. Yamato was also there to strengthen the seal and control the Nine Tails chakra if necessary. During the training, while at the peak of his anger, Naruto ended up meeting Kushina. Remember, this was all set up by Minato when he created the seal. The two had a long conversation, and she motivated her son to pursue his dream of becoming Hokage. This inspired Naruto to defeat the Nine Tails. He then began to control the chakra in a new way, enveloping his entire body in a yellow glow. But before they could continue the training, Kisame was discovered. Yes, all this time, the former swordsman had been hiding inside Samahada. After a long confrontation, he was defeated by Maidogai. At the same time, the 5 great nations united to defeat those who opposed peace in the ninja world, even agreeing to wear the same headband. Moreover, Kabuto met with Obito and demonstrated his ability to resurrect powerful ninjas through Edo Tensei. Thus, they decided to join forces. But first, the Uchiha sought out Madara's eyes, which had been entrusted to Nagato and were in Amegakure, where Konan had taken the bodies of her friends. Obviously, Konan was not going to hand over the Rinnegan to Obito, and the two engaged in a battle. She had been preparing for this fight for a long time and initially had the upper hand, even seemingly winning. But as we all know, the Uchiha had a trick up his sleeve, Izanagi. Using this power of the Mangekyo Sharingan, he reversed the situation and ultimately defeated his opponent. Unfortunately, the Paper Angel did not survive the battle, and Obito was able to recover Madara's eyes, ready for war. With the Akatsuki having already captured several Biju, Obito and Kabuto used a great deal of chakra to summon more than 100,000 white Zetsus, essentially creating an army. Additionally, the former assistant of Orochimaru summoned, through Edo Tensei, the former Kages, Jinchuriki, members of the organization, and other ninjas we've seen in the anime. It's important to note that all of these ninjas were under his control. Meanwhile, Naruto continued his training with Killer Bee, learning various new techniques, including the Biju Bomb. However, the army of ninjas resurrected by Kabuto began to backfire, as many of them started breaking free from his control. The first was Hanzo of the Salamander, followed by Sai's brother. Both of them allowed themselves to die. After fighting Kankuro, Sasori understood that the art of puppetry would be passed on to future generations, just as he had always wanted. Thus, he was able to rest in peace. We also witnessed several battles throughout the episodes, such as Gai Sensei and Kakashi against the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, and Gaara, who had to defeat his own father. The Shinobi Alliance believed they could handle the war without the help of Killer Bee and Naruto. Therefore, they kept the two isolated on an island, continuing their training as if nothing were happening. However, through Sage Mode, our beloved protagonist was able to sense the chakra of everyone fighting, including the Nine Tails chakra, which was being used by the brothers Ginkaku and Kinkaku. Although Iruka tried to stop him, we know that Naruto could never abandon anyone in need. As a result, Iruka simply asked Killer Bee to take care of the blonde ninja. On the way to the battlefield, Naruto and Kurama began to talk. The fox asked some interesting questions to the Jinchuriki, and the most important one was whether Naruto could handle all the hatred in the ninja world. To the fox's surprise, Naruto not only said he would put an end to it, but also to the hatred that the beast carried within itself. Meanwhile, Obito joined the battle, summoning the Gedo statue and retrieving the container that held the sealed brothers, Ginkaku and Kinkaku. Without the need for our beloved protagonist, this allowed him to complete the shell of the 10 tails. Moreover, Obito used all the Jinchuriki as if they were paths of pain, so to speak, controlling them through the Rinnegan. As for Naruto, he was on his way with Killer Bee when they encountered Itachi and Nagato. The 4 of them ended up fighting since Kabuto was controlling Itachi and Nagato, but the former Akatsuki members helped Naruto and Bee defend themselves from their own attacks. Later, Itachi retrieved Shisui's crow that was inside Naruto and freed them both from the control of Edo Tensei. After sealing Nagato, Itachi set out to find Kabuto to put an end to the forbidden jutsu's control once and for all. But before that could happen, Kabuto resurrected Madara, who thanks to Edo Tensei returned in his younger and more powerful form. This meant that one of the most powerful ninjas was back on Earth with both Rinnegan, nearly infinite chakra, and almost invincible. Upon confronting the Shinobi Alliance, Madara attempted to summon Kurama, which deeply unsettled Naruto considering he had trained hard to prevent the fox from going out of his control. When the summoning of Kurama failed, Madara unleashed an enormous fireball upon the Shinobi Alliance, requiring numerous ninjas using Suton to stop it. But that wasn't all. He then summoned a meteor to crush all the shinobi present. Fortunately, the Kages managed to prevent this from happening. However, no one expected that Madara had summoned a second meteor, which collided with the first, making the situation even more dire. It's worth noting that he also used taijutsu, defeating nearly all the ninjas there. With this, Kurama began to reach an agreement with Naruto because of his hatred for Madara, and so the two joined forces, forming a duo. Finally, peace reigned between them. Upon arriving at the battlefield, the Kages asked Naruto to find Kabuto and stop the Edo Tensei, assuring him that they could handle Madara. Well, we all know that's not how things turned out, right? The Uchiha not only defeated all the Kages with ease, but also mocked the situation several times, even asking if they preferred to face him and his clones with or without Susanoo. Meanwhile, Naruto encountered Tobi and the Jinchuriki. To stop their attacks, Naruto needed to remove the metal stakes, which were the key to the Rinnegan's control, just as he did with Pain's paths. Our beloved protagonist received help from Guy and Kakashi until he was swallowed by the 4 tails. Inside, he had a conversation with Son Goku, who began to cooperate with him. The other Biju followed suit. As a result, Naruto unlocked Kurama's gates, allowing the fox to fully lend its power. This gave Naruto a new form. After gathering several giant hands enveloped in Kurama's chakra, he was able to immobilize all the Biju and remove the stakes, freeing them from the Rinnegan's control. With this, Naruto conversed not only with the beasts but also with the Jinchuriki, who decided to lend him some of their power. This made Obito extremely worried about the course of the war. While Itachi was searching for Kabuto, Sasuke found him and began to follow his older brother, questioning if everything he had learned was true. At that moment, Itachi was solely focused on defeating Orochimaru's former assistant. Thus Sasuke decided to help, and the two brothers engaged in a battle against Kabuto, ultimately defeating him, but not killing him. The older Uchiha used one of his ocular powers to enter the enemy's mind, bringing about a change in Kabuto. He ended up accepting who he truly was. After undergoing a complete personality change, Kabuto undid the Edo Tensei. With this, Itachi's mission was finally complete, but before departing, he revealed everything that had happened to his brother, and told him that no matter what path Sasuke chose, he would always love him. After witnessing Itachi's soul depart, Sasuke was faced with a decision to help Madara or the Shinobi Alliance. We already know the answer. Sasuke used the curse mark to resurrect Orochimaru, who, after absorbing Kabuto's chakra, decided to cooperate with his former student. With this, Orochimaru used Edo Tensei to revive the previous Hokages. Even though he knew a war was ongoing, Sasuke demanded answers about what really happened to the Uchiha clan. After hearing everything, Sasuke decided to help the Shinobi Alliance, and they all headed to the battlefield. There, Obito summoned the Ten Tails while fighting Naruto and Guy. Kakashi attempted to use Kamui to stop the process, but Obito prevented it. This led the Team 7 sensei to realize that the masked man's eye was the same as his. After many blows and trips to other dimensions, they finally knocked off the mask and discovered that it was Obito Uchiha. Madara arrived shortly after to continue with the plan. Meanwhile, the Ten Tails was attacked by the Shinobi Alliance, but Obito used the Tailed Beast bomb from the Ten Tails to strike the location where the Alliance's intelligence was stationed. As a result, Ino and Shikamaru's parents died. However, just before dying, they connected with all the ninjas to relay their plan, giving them a chance to defeat the Ten Tails. Shortly after, during one of the beast's attacks, Neji sacrificed himself to protect his cousin Hinata and also died. Before passing, he told Naruto that his words had freed him from the shackles of fate. After Neji's death, Obito mocked Naruto, who was deeply shaken, but Hinata encouraged him, and together they continued the battle. At this point, Madara and Obito were struggling to control the Ten Tails, even though they were connected to it. With Hinata's encouragement, Naruto decided to share Kurama's chakra with everyone present, boosting their abilities. Meanwhile, in the other dimension, the fight between Kakashi and Obito continued. After the Team 7 sensei removed the seal that Madara had placed on his friend, Obito became very confused, unsure if this was truly what he wanted. After all, he had been manipulated all this time. Back in the war, the Hokages finally arrived, along with Sasuke, who suddenly declared that he wanted to become the next Hokage, leaving everyone surprised. Minato appeared in front of his son, using the half of Kurama's chakra sealed within himself. Madara couldn't contain his joy at reuniting with Hashirama, nor his desire to fight him again. Now that everyone was present on the battlefield, we finally saw Team 7 fighting together again, using summoning jutsu and other techniques, even combining them. Meanwhile, Orochimaru brought Karin to Tsunade for healing and also to help the other Kages recover from the injuries inflicted by Madara. Shortly after, Obito became the Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails. He became incredibly powerful, and the only way to stop him was through Senjutsu attack. Thus, Naruto activated Sage Mode along with Kurama's chakra. He even joined forces with his father, thereby having the complete chakra of the beast. Minato used teleportation to move the Shinobi Alliance to a safe place, but Obito was intent on initiating the infinite Tsukuyomi, so he pursued the ninjas to complete his plan. Sasuke, along with Jugo, activated Susanoo, enhanced with the curse mark. Naruto's attacks, which were empowered by the Biju, began to destabilize Obito. At a certain point, the two ended up connecting in a sort of mental world and had a conversation. As we all know, through his talk no jutsu, our beloved protagonist convinced Obito to the point where he surrendered and extracted the chakra from all the Biju. After seeing his old friend on the ground, Kakashi spoke some words to Obito, and after hearing everything, Obito concluded that the ninja world could achieve peace without the need for the infinite Tsukuyomi. As a form of redemption, Obito attempted to revive all those who had died in the war, but before he could do so, Black Zetsu emerged from his body to stop him, forcing him to instead resurrect Madara's body, which was still under Edo Tensei. Upon returning to life, the most powerful Uchiha lost the two eyes he had after a brief battle against Sasuke, who was on the brink of death and needed treatment from Karin, Orochimaru, and Kabuto. Madara stole Obito's eye and implanted it in himself. With the Rinnegan now implanted, Madara tried to seal the Biju back inside the Gedo statue. After absorbing the chakra of the beasts, he became the Jinchuriki Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails, gaining a new appearance and immense power. Naruto, who had lost Kurama, fell unconscious, with his heart barely beating. Sakura tried to find ways to keep him alive and even traveled to another dimension with him, while Obito considered recovering the fox's chakra, but time was running out. Eventually, it became too late for both Naruto and Sasuke. In the spiritual plane, they encountered Hagoromo Otsutsuki. After conversing with them, the Sage of the Six Paths decided to trust them both to restore peace to the ninja world. Additionally, as a way of atoning for what he had done to his own sons, he shared equal amounts of power with the boys. Naruto was given the Six Paths Sage mode, and Sasuke received a great ocular power, the Rinne Sharingan. While they were there, Madara faced Maitogai, who had opened the 8 inner gates. At that moment, Madara genuinely believed he might lose, as none of his powers were enough to counter Gai's taijutsu. In fact, the Uchiha named the Team 9 sensei as the strongest ninja. However, despite fighting with all his strength, Gai was gravely injured, almost to the point of death, one could say, and unfortunately, he lost the battle. Nevertheless, we got to witness his true potential as a ninja. Shortly after, Sasuke and Naruto entered the scene, now with new powers, to stop the infinite Tsukuyomi from happening. But while Naruto was healing Gai and restoring Kakashi's eyes, Madara began the Eye of the Moon plan. The only ones who didn't fall under the infinite Tsukuyomi were the members of Team 7, as they were protected by Sasuke's Susanoo. Just when the most powerful Uchiha thought he had saved the ninja world, Black Zetsu delivered a fatal blow to his back, revealing that he was the remaining will of Kaguya, and that he had manipulated everyone around him to bring his mother back. The moment had finally arrived. Black Zetsu used Madara's body, eyes, and chakra to bring Kaguya back to life. Additionally, since he was inside the Uchiha's body, he began to absorb the chakra of those trapped in the infinite Tsukuyomi. Then, the two fused, and the princess of the Otsutsuki clan returned. Black Zetsu intended to steal Naruto and Sasuke's chakra to give it to his mother, but fortunately, it didn't work. Our beloved protagonist distracted her with the sexy jutsu and then struck her. However, it wasn't enough. Kaguya had control over dimensions and decided to send Sasuke to another one as a way to separate him from Naruto. Obito, along with Sakura, went after him, and they successfully rescued him. At a certain point in the battle, to save Kakashi from Kaguya's attacks, Obito stepped in front of him and died. Before passing, he gave both of his eyes to his former friend and spoke heartfelt words to our beloved protagonist. Now, Team 7 sprang into action. Kakashi summoned a complete Susanoo. Naruto entered Sage mode, combined with Kurama's chakra and the chakra of the 9 Biju, creating multiple clones and Rasengans, which he launched at Kaguya, destabilizing her. Taking advantage of this, Naruto and Sasuke struck her with a combined attack, which was finalized by Sakura, who came from above and delivered a blow to Kaguya's head. Thus, the three of them defeated the Otsutsuki princess. As a precaution to prevent this from happening again, Naruto decided to seal Kaguya and Black Zetsu using Chibaku Tensei. Finally, the war was over. Afterward, Hagoromo brought everyone back from the dimension they were in. In a farewell moment, Naruto spoke with his father before the Edo Tensei was undone. The Biju were released to follow their own path, but both Kurama and the 8 Tails chose to stay with their respective Jinchuriki. It was also decided that the inside of Naruto would be the meeting point for the tailed beast. However, Sasuke still had doubts about Konoha's system. He used his own eyes to try to defeat the Kages and seal the Biju in 9 moons using Chibaku Tensei. But as we all know, Naruto didn't take this well, and the two entered into a confrontation, with Kurama materialized and Susanoo fully formed. At one point, they delivered such a powerful blow that both of them lost an arm. Naruto told Sasuke that he understood his pain, and eventually, Sasuke accepted his defeat. Together, they undid the infinite Tsukuyomi. Sometime later, Sasuke was supposed to be imprisoned, but with Naruto's help, who was highly regarded for his role in the war and seen as a hero, he was released by Kakashi, who was now the 6th Hokage. With that, Sasuke decided to wander the world as a way of atoning for the sins he had committed. Sakura asked to go with him, but he simply made the same gesture as Itachi and thanked her. Our beloved protagonist also met him along the way and returned his headband to his friend. Afterward, Sasuke set off on his journey. If you enjoyed this complete summary, check out the other summaries on the channel that are playing on the screen right now. There are ones about the past events in Naruto, and from the Naruto Classic series,